Hey guys, back again with another October Gaming Marathon game completion, kind of. And this is going to be the last one. With this video, my marathon is over. And the reason for that, I know the month's not over yet. I just don't think I could complete another game before the month's over. And I think I'm good with the amount of horror games I've played. But anyways, this one, Super Castlevania 4. Yeah, I've never played this game. Castlevania is a series that I have admiration for. I just haven't played too many of the games. What have I played? Symphony of Night. Symphony of Night is the first one I played, and it's still my favorite. That game is a masterpiece. I might talk about that some other time, but amazing game. And Dawn of Sorrow and Order of Ecclesia on the DS. Order of Ecclesia I thought was okay. Dawn of Sorrow, the touchscreen stuff ruined the game for me. But Super Castlevania 4, the game in question. Storyline. Go kill Dracula. That's pretty much it. You're Simon Belmont, and yeah, go kill Dracula. As far as I know, I think this is like a kind of a reimagining of the first game on the NES. That's what I've heard, and kind of after reading some stuff up on this game, that's what people seem to say. I've never played the first Castlevania outside of like just the first level. It didn't seem that way to me, but who knows. But yeah, story, not much to speak of, but it doesn't need a fancy story, you know, it's just that kind of that epic, go kill Dracula. There's a great sense of kind of like, you know, scale in this game, where you kind of start small and in the forest, and you kind of work your way through a swamp area, and then you kind of reach the castle, and you kind of climb up the castle until that final confrontation with Dracula. It's got like this great kind of feel to it. But yeah, not much to speak of in terms of the storyline. Visually, this is a very nice looking game. I know it was one of the earlier Super Nintendo games, but it still looks really good. Nice, big, detailed sprites, excellent environments. The detail in these environments and levels is astounding, especially a treasury level later on that looks absolutely stunning. And, you know, definitely a major improvement over those NES games, the NES Castlevanias. Audio-wise, the music, first of all, the sound effects are all great. The music, I know a lot of people really like the soundtrack in this game. Other than a few tracks, I wasn't too impressed with it. The first track, I don't know what it's called, that plays in the first level, I love. As well as a remake, there's a few songs in here that I've heard in other Castlevania games. I don't even know the names of them, but they're kind of like redone versions, and those were fantastic. But the actual songs created specifically for this game, I found kind of like they're not bad. They just didn't stick with me. But the soundtrack's definitely not bad. It wasn't too memorable for me. Gameplay-wise, it seems like your typical Castlevania game. Now, I haven't actually played a traditional Castlevania like this. It's a very linear game, no branching paths or anything, just kind of point A to point B, kill everything in your path, look for secret hidden areas sometimes with, you know, some items or whatever. You pick up weapons, you pick up hearts to kind of use your weapon powers. I guess the new thing for this game is your whip can be upgraded to like more lengths, and you can do like this kind of weird whipping all around type thing where you can whip in like every direction. If you hold the attack button, you can do this weird whip around attack that looks very strange in motion, but actually works quite well in certain situations. So yeah, the level designs are quite good. I think they ramp up really nicely in terms of difficulty. The game starts off pretty easy, and it's fairly easy up until like stage 6 or 7 or so, when the game gets fucking brutal. Like, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, the level designs are all really clever, a lot of cool obstacles. You got some really neat Mode 7 effects in this game where you're dangling from chandeliers and stuff like that, and you've got like environments that turn around like 360 degrees and stuff. Like, there's really cool Mode 7 effects and everything. Like, it's a really awesome looking game for when it came out. And the levels are all really fun. Like, it's just a really fun traditional Castlevania game. My problem with it, I guess, and this is kind of extends to all the traditional Castlevania games I've played, really, are the controls. They're very stiff. Movement is stiff, jumping is stiff, climbing up stairs is annoying, and getting hit and you fly back when you get hit. That caused a lot of frustration, but I feel like I can't really complain about that too much, because it seems to be like a Castlevania staple. those kind of almost stiff controls, but I make it sound worse than it is. The controls are generally, they're fine. And most of the time when you die, it's going to be your fault. There's a few cheap, unfair deaths in this game, and the levels overall require a good amount of trial and error and memorization. It's one of those games that's hard as shit, but if you've memorized the levels, it's not too bad. You get like a certain amount of lives, and the stages are like, you know, the first is like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and that's one stage. And if you lose all your lives, you get a game over screen where you get a password, or you can continue, and you can continue right off at that beginning of that stage. So it's kind of lenient that way. It's, you know, you're not going to play the whole game over if you do get a game over. That said, once you reach stage 8 is when this game gets insane. It took me forever to beat stage 8, which is by far the hardest stage in the game. It is nasty. All the different traps and enemies and spikes and stuff. Like, it took me forever to get through that damn stage. The bosses in this game are also really cool. They're really fun and expertly designed. That's where the controls bugged me the most, though. I found it very hard to dodge boss attacks in this game. A lot of bosses, I don't even understand how you could not even get hit. And that brings me to why I didn't actually beat this game. I'm stuck. I've tried. There's like a boss gauntlet at the end of the game, and I don't want to spoil like who these bosses are or anything, but I can't get through that gauntlet. I've tried, and it's too much. You know, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not that frustrated with it. I mean, I got frustrated at points, but eventually when I kept trying over and over again, I got through the levels, and the game's fun enough that it didn't bother me too much. But it's like, you know, my skills just aren't up to snuff for this game, sadly, so I didn't get to see the ending, but I've played enough of it to get a feel for the game, and overall, it's a great game. I'm curious what Dracula X is like on the Super Nintendo. I think that's I don't know. I'm not a Castlevania expert, so I don't know if I think it's like a remake of some other Castlevania game. But there's a good chance this will probably remain my favorite traditional Castlevania. That said, I do prefer the RPG ones, like Symphony of the Night, for instance. There's just something about that style, that Metroidvania exploration-based style with the RPG elements that just really hooks me, that in a way that this game could never hook me. I still do want to get around to Castlevania 1, 2, and 3. I know 2 isn't supposed to be that great, but I do want to play 1 and 3, even though I know 3 is apparently absolutely brutal. Like, apparently this is one of the easiest traditional Castlevanias, and I really thought this game was quite hard, so I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what I think of those games. But yeah, a nice game to finish off the October gaming marathon with, as far as horror games go. And, you know, this isn't like a scary game or anything, obviously, but it's got that horror feel, you know, with vampires and Dracula, and, you know, it's just Castlevania, right? But I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.